Let's look at the structure of the ACT. The ACT assessment tests your abilities in 4 areas. English test, 75 questions in 45 minutes. Mathematics test, 60 questions in 60 minutes. Reading test, 40 questions in 35 minutes. And science reasoning test, also with 40 questions in 35 minutes. This tape will focus on 2 of these areas. The first half of the tape prepares you for the English test, and the second half prepares you for the reading test. Our companion tape prepares you for the other 2 tests, mathematics and science reasoning. What is the purpose of each test? According to the American College Testing Program, the English test measures your understanding of the conventions of standard written English, punctuation, grammar and usage, and sentence structure, and of rhetorical skills, strategy, organization, and style. The reading test, according to ACT, measures your reading comprehension as a product of your skill in referring and reasoning. The test comprises 4 prose passages that are representative of the level and kinds of text commonly encountered in college freshman curricula. On this tape, test-taking strategies and practice problems will be introduced and thoroughly explained. Furthermore, concepts from punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure often encountered on the ACT English test will be reviewed. Before you begin the first section of this tape, let me offer you some guidelines for how to use this tape and the workbook effectively. The practice problems that will be presented on the screen in both the English and reading sections of this tape are also printed in the workbook. When a problem is presented on the screen, pause the tape and attempt to solve the problem in the workbook. Once you have tried your best to solve the problem, then play the tape to listen to an explanation of the solution. This course was developed by Dr. Michael K. Smith, who has been teaching ACT review courses for more than 20 years. Let's begin our preparation for the English test. The English test consists of 5 prose passages, each with a series of multiple-choice questions. This test has a total of 75 questions to be answered in 45 minutes. Some questions refer to underlined portions of the passage. Other questions pose questions about the passage as a whole. Each multiple-choice question consists of 4 options, lettered either A, B, C, D, or F, G, H, J. You will receive a score on the ACT English test, which ranges from a minimum of 1 to a maximum of 36. The national average is approximately 20. The following chart indicates how many of the 75 questions you need to answer correctly to receive various scores on the test. The ACT English test measures 6 aspects of standard written English: punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure, contained in the broad category of usage mechanics, and strategy, organization, and style, contained in the category of rhetorical skills. The categories related to usage mechanics comprise the following number of questions: punctuation, 10 questions; grammar, 12 questions, and sentence structure, 18 questions. Let's look at an example from each of these 3 categories. On his way home from work, Michael stopped for gas, bought a newspaper, and purchased some groceries. On the usage mechanics questions of the English test, the first option will always be no change. Choose this option when the underlined portion of the sentence is already correctly written. Choose one of the other options when a correction is needed. This example demonstrates the correct usage of commas. In this sentence, option B is correct, since another comma is needed to separate correctly this list of items. The collection of newspapers, bundled and ready for recycling, are on the front porch. This example tests your knowledge of subject-verb agreement. The subject of this sentence is collection, and thus requires a singular verb. Option H is correct. Walked to school. Bob remembered that he had left his biology notebook at home. In this example, is the expression walk to school able to function as a complete sentence, or should it be an introductory clause in the longer sentence starting with Bob remembered? Since there is no subject in the expression walk to school, it would be better to treat it as an introductory clause modifying Bob. Option C is the best choice. Questions related to rhetorical skills will often ask you to make judgments about larger units, such as the sentence, the paragraph, or the passage as a whole. Rhetorical skills comprise three major categories: strategy, 12 questions; organization, 11 questions; and style, 12 questions. Let's look at examples from each category. Some strategy questions will ask you to choose sentences that would strengthen the writing in the passage. Scientists have proposed 3 different theories for how dinosaurs became extinct. I believe that evidence for 2 of the theories is weak. Thus, in the following sections, I will only discuss the merits of the 3rd theory. The author could strengthen the ideas in this paragraph by some questions related to rhetorical skills do not refer to underlined portions of a passage, but instead have a question number in a little box at some point in the text. In this example, we are being asked, as a reader of this paragraph, to provide a suggestion as to how to strengthen the author's argument. In this case, option B would promote clarity in the argument by providing the reader with more detailed information about the theories being discussed. Other strategy questions will ask you to choose appropriate introductory or transitional sentences for a paragraph, or appropriate concluding or summary sentences at the end of a paragraph. Given 2 paragraphs, a question might be phrased as, which of the following sentences provides the best transition from paragraph 1 to paragraph 2? If the question occurs at the end of a paragraph, it could be phrased as, which of the following sentences provides the best ending or conclusion to this particular paragraph? Organization questions ask you to choose the best ordering of sentences in a paragraph or paragraphs in a passage. For instance, Michael planned to study for his English test all night. First, he reviewed the notes he had taken in class. Finally, he took a practice examination. Then he reread certain portions of the textbook. For the sake of clarity, sentence 3 should be, once again, the little box at the end of the paragraph indicates the question number. In this example, to place the sequence of events in the proper order, option A is correct. Organization questions could also ask you to reorder the paragraphs in the passage. For passages that ask this type of question, you will first be given this notice. The following questions may or may not be in the most logical order. Each paragraph is numbered, and item 6 will ask you to choose the best ordering of the paragraphs. For organization questions, whether at the paragraph or passage level, it is important to consider the different logical ways that essays can be constructed. For example, does the passage narrate a series of events, explain a process, describe a cause and its effect, describe a classification, describe a sequence of sensory events, provide an analysis, or compare and contrast certain events? Style questions could ask you to consider the most appropriate audience for a particular passage or an appropriate place where the passage might be published. An example question might be, this passage would most likely be encountered in a collection of articles dealing with. Style questions might also ask you to judge the tone the author is using in the passage. Is the material objective? Is the author being critical of some position? Is the author praising some idea? Style questions will also ask you to choose appropriate words and phrases and to practice economy in writing. For example, at first he initially thought that he would be elected captain of the team. In this example, first and initially are redundant. Option G is a more economical way of expressing the ideas in the sentence. On the next part of the tape, Dr. Smith will review in more detail standard written English rules, which are often tested on the ACT English test. Examples will be provided in each of the following areas. Under the category of punctuation, commas, colons, semicolons, dashes, parentheses, and apostrophes. Under the category of grammar, subject-verb agreement, adjective-adverb agreement, noun-pronoun agreement, and the correct use of verb forms. Under the category of sentence structure, sentence fragments, fused sentences, and dangling modifiers.
Commas are used to set off parenthetical words or phrases. Mel Gibson, arguably one of the most attractive men living today, has starred in numerous movies. Commas are used to set off introductory clauses and long phrases. Before buying an automobile, Susan reviewed several comparisons conducted by consumer groups. List of words should be separated by commas. Nancy, Susan, Charlie, and Stephen all agree with me that Sylvester Stallone should take acting lessons. Avoid the comma splice. Do not link two main clauses with just a comma. For instance, he was late for class, he missed the pop quiz, should be either he was late for class, semicolon, he missed the pop quiz, or he was late for class, period, he missed the pop quiz. Colons are generally used to indicate that some sort of list will follow. The following people, however, disagree with me: Danielle, Deborah, Kathy, and Karen. Semicolons separate phrases which are linked by meaning, but which could stand on their own grammatically. The Joneses couldn't wait to get home. Their trip to Europe had been nothing but trouble from start to finish. Dashes and parentheses are both used to offset some piece of information. Boring, frustrating, tedious. All of these describe studying for the ACT, American College Test. Apostrophes are often used to indicate either possession or the omission of letters, as in contractions. The dog's tail wagged, showing the pet's excitement. The dog's tails wagged, showing the pet's excitement. Another example. It's too late to turn in the extra assignment. In this example, it's is a contraction for it is and requires the apostrophe. Verbs should agree in number with their subject. The team members were sad to see the coach go. The team was sad to see the coach go. Were sad agrees with the plural team members, while was sad agrees with the singular team. Everyone, including the members of the opposing team, is invited to the party. Note that is agrees with everyone, which is a singular noun, even though the implication is that the noun refers to more than one person. The bus, full of children, has finally arrived at the theater. The subject is bus, which is singular, rather than children, which is plural. Adjectives are used to modify nouns or pronouns. Adverbs are used to modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. We made a quick search. We searched quickly. First example being the adjective, the second example, the adverb. She has good handwriting. She writes well. The first case, an adjective. The second case, an adverb. When a pronoun is used, there is generally a noun referent. The pronoun should always agree in gender and in number with this referent. Bob often asks intelligent questions. They are alert in class. Here they would be incorrect as is referring to Bob, a subject in singular form. A correct sentence would be, he is alert in class. In using verb forms, be careful to distinguish between the present tense, past tense, and past participle. For example, I drink, present tense, I drank, past tense, I had drunk, past participle. The following list contain examples of irregular verbs which often occur on the ACT. This list is also included in the workbook. Sentence fragments are incomplete sentences that are missing either a subject, a predicate, or both. Susan won first place in the science fair and placed second in the math contest. This is a sentence fragment and could be rewritten as Susan won first place in the science fair and placed second in the math contest. Don't place two or more sentences together without proper punctuation. John left school early. Mary stayed late for a meeting. This example has two sentences fused together. It could be rewritten as John left school early, period. Mary stayed late for a meeting. Two separate sentences. Dangling modifiers are misplaced words or phrases that do not refer clearly and logically to other words or phrases in the sentence. Running swiftly, the race was completed in less than a minute. In this example, running swiftly is a dangling modifier because it modifies the race and implies that the race was running swiftly. It could be rewritten as, running swiftly, Kathy completed the race in less than a minute. Waiting for the bus, rain poured down on Bob's head. Waiting for the bus is also a dangling modifier because in this case it modifies rain and implies that the rain was waiting for the bus. This sentence could be rewritten as, while Bob was waiting for the bus, rain poured down on his head.